I've been thinking about The Secret Garden a lot lately. It was my favorite movie to watch at my grandparents' when I was growing up. My grandpa would go to the library and ask me what movies I wanted him to borrow, and I would tell him The Secret Garden, and I would try to describe which version I wanted because our library had 2 or 3 versions. And my grandma and I would sit on the couch and watch it, and we would eat our lunch of ramen noodle soup or SpaghettiOs with meatballs. And when we finished our lunch, we would keep watching it and we would work on our projects. She always gave me lots of paper and art supplies and encouraged me to use it, and we wrote stories and we illustrated them. Not together, but storytelling was something that we both loved. I thought that I was ready to accept the deaths of my grandparents. My grandma had been diagnosed with cancer almost 10 years ago, and my grandpa had health issues for as long as I can remember. But instead of preparing me for their deaths, that actually got me used to the idea of them beating whatever happened and surviving whatever happened. So when they passed away this fall, it was harder than I ever imagined it would be. This peace lily is from my grandma's funeral, and this plate was broken, and it has sentimental value for my mom to my grandpa. And when she tried to fix it, she couldn't. So she decided she'd like me to use it for drainage for the peace lily. My grandparents passed away in the beginning and middle of my final semester in college, and so I felt really guilty for a lot of reasons. I felt guilty that I was acting too sad to work on projects and school. I was too sad. People lose grandparents and even more tragically, younger loved ones all the time, so I didn't deserve to be as sad as I was. And I felt guilty for not being sad enough and caring too much about school projects. And I felt guilty for being angry and upset that they wouldn't be at my graduation gallery show. It was hard to really grieve. I think it's always hard to grieve, but those circumstances were not something that I was expecting. When I was first dealing with their deaths, I didn't take care of any of my houseplants, which sounds silly, but I just didn't want to care for anything, and I let some of my plants die. At the end of December, I asked my mom if I could take all of my grandma's plants because they were dying, and she was really proud of them, and I didn't want them to die. As I was loading up my car with my grandma's plants, I kept thinking, it just kept swirling around in my mind, this is like the secret garden. And I did cry a little bit because I missed her, and this was the kind of thing that I would have told her and she would have appreciated. But in the secret garden, there's a boy who's very good with nature, and he says that these plants still have green, there's still wick in them, and it means that they're still alive, and that's just something that I kept thinking about as I was loading up these really dry, very light brown plants into my car and bringing them back up to my home. That these plants were still wick. If you've never read or watched The Secret Garden, it's a story about a lot of things, but mainly I see it as a story about working through grief and recovering joy from a mournful place, and finding magic in everyday events and learning to live joyfully every day. This month was my first birthday without them, and I was really upset because every year they call and they sing happy birthday, and last year I answered the phone, so I didn't have a voicemail from them to listen to. And it really upset me for, a few days. But yesterday my mom sent me the audio file from my uncle, and he had a recording of them singing, and she replaced the name with my name. And that was definitely my favorite birthday gift this year. So there's a question Colin asks. He's a very lonely, angry, sad little boy in the secret garden, and he asks, "Is spring coming, and what is it like?" And in New York, where I'm from, spring doesn't come in one big, beautiful green swoosh. It comes in muddy, sunny days when it's 70 out, and then the next day there's a blizzard, and that is very similar to grief. You get days where you feel good and at peace and ready to move on, and you have other days. But I'm told it does get better with time, so maybe that's summer. Even as I do voiceover, I am debating whether I should be doing this voiceover. I really don't want to disrespect my grandparents or any of my other family, and I don't want my friends or family to think that this is all I'm thinking about all the time. It's just what's going on in my life, and I just wanted to share a little bit, I guess, because I don't know. I think that I would like to dedicate a video to two wonderful people who inspired me and who took care of me. My grandma loved little trinkets. She gave me those little houses, and anyway, she was just creative and crafty, and my grandpa was just generous and supportive. And they could also be really annoying because they were real people. But they were very good people, and I just miss them. This painting was the first painting I ever made, and it was with her at her house. And this painting I made in September, dedicated to all of our shared memories. She influenced my life so much just by encouraging me to be artistic and creative